Salesforce.com is quite a hard company to explain. Not because it has a really complex product, but because it has a lot of very complex products. And if I was to go into the details of every single one of those, it would probably take like a few hours. So I'm going to try and summarize best I can kind of the gist of what it offers. Then I'll have a look at its kind of up-to-date finances, so stock price and its revenue. And finally, I'll give you my final thoughts on Salesforce.com as an investment. Firstly, introducing myself, I am Jonathan. I'm a software developer who looks at tech companies for investors. And if you've clicked on this video, then you are interested in learning a little bit more about Salesforce. So I'm not going to waste your time. And to start, the ticker symbol for Salesforce is CRM, which actually relates to something to do with Salesforce, customer relationship management. And Salesforce offers products that essentially help businesses develop and maintain their relationships with their customers, whether that be lead generation, analysis on products, or customer service. It has a massive variety of different products, and it is like the most popular customer relationship management cloud service provider that I could find. Now, in terms of comparing this to something that you would be familiar with, it would be to actually have a look at things like Microsoft Office. Now, Microsoft Office is a collection of different products. You have Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and all of those products are designed to, well, work together, but they are quite valuable individually. So Microsoft Word helps you generate and create documents. Microsoft Excel helps with spreadsheets, and PowerPoints. So in terms of document creation, Microsoft Office is something that a lot of people are familiar with, and it is a collection of different software packages. And that is what Salesforce offers. But rather than document generation, Salesforce is more aimed towards products that help businesses manage their customers a bit better. Whether that be things that allow them to analyze the data that they get from their customers, analyze sales orders, looking at opportunities and leads, helping them make more money, more sales, and retain more clients, which for I think every single company in the entire world is quite important, because there is no such thing as a company that is not a sales company. Now, another really quite interesting thing I found about Salesforce is that it makes quite a lot of acquisitions, and its kind of most recent acquisition, or one of its most recent acquisition, was for Slack Messenger. Now, Slack is actually really valuable, and it's probably became a lot more valuable now that people can't work in the office and they're working remotely. Slack is something that I will touch on in another video, but just giving you an oversight of it, it is a very good business tool and is something that I use every day. But that is kind of the overview of Salesforce. Now let's actually go and have a look at its finances. So it's currently trading over $230 per share. It has a 52-week range of $148 to $284.50. It has a market cap of $213.571 billion, and it has an earnings per share of $4.38. Price per earnings are $52.94. The fact that it has an earnings per share above zero is quite new. Not new to the company, new to me when I look at tech companies, because that usually tends to be a minus. So looking at its kind of performance in the graph, over the past day, it's kind of balanced out about 230 to 32. Over the past 5 days, it's been kind of gradually increasing. The past month has been about the same. 6 months, it's actually been it's a bit lower than where it started. Looks like it had a bit of a peak in September, October of last year. And ever since then, it's just very slowly been decreasing over its lifetime. So it's not exactly a young company. From June 1st, 2004, it has pretty much increased quite consistently up until around October of last year, where it took that dip. These are the financial reports for Salesforce.com, which I will link in the description down below if you want to have a look yourself. Looking at its latest earnings report, which is for Q4 2021, they had fourth quarter revenue of 5.82 billion, which is up 20% compared to the previous year. For the full year of 2021, they had revenue of 21.25 billion, which is up 24% year over year. So this is actually the full release, and one point I want to have a look at is we never could have predicted a year ago what was in store, which makes me incredibly proud of how well we pivoted our company to adapt to this pandemic world, which from what I could find has quite a lot to do with the fact that they did purchase Slack in December of 2020. So this is our actual revenue. Now please bear in mind that this is in millions, so it's normally in thousands, but this is in millions. So looking at the fiscal year ended of January 31st for 2020, they made in total revenue 17.098 billion. And for 2021, they made 21.252 billion. Now, looking at their total cost of revenue for 2020, they had 4,235 million, which if we actually have a look at that as a percentage of their revenue is around 24.8%. Then actually looking at their cost of revenue for 2021, which is 5,438 million, and look at that as a percentage of their revenue, that's actually just over about 1% lower at 25.6% of their revenue. Like most tech companies, Salesforce still invests heavily in sales and marketing and research and development, which is understandable because it is an essential part of running a business. If you don't make sales, you don't make money, and if you don't innovate, then you get left behind. But when it comes to running a company on a day-to-day basis, these are costs that are not flexible. Whereas sales and marketing and research and development are costs that, if really need be, is something that they can cut back on. So if we actually have a look at their gross profit and subtract the non-flexible costs, then we kind of get an idea on where their margin is. Where if they literally had to cut to the bare bones, would they still be highly profitable? So let's actually take their general and administrative as a percentage out of their gross profit. So for 2020, their general and administrative costs were 1.704 billion. And if you look at that as a percentage of their gross profit, it equals about 13.2%. And when we look at 2021 and take 2,087 million out of, as a percentage, 15.814 billion, that also equals around 13.2%. But it is just a few points lower than what it was the year previous, which is quite good. And another kind of point that I want to make out is that for 2021, they actually, surprisingly, which considering most of the tech companies I look at, their net income was positive. They made 4,072 million. Comparing the year previous, where they made 126 million, they had a much better year. Most of this came from gains in strategic investments and also benefit from income taxes. So to conclude and to give you my point of view of a tech guy and also from the point of view of an investor, Salesforce is actually a really valuable company and it has quite a lot of offerings that make it, well, a frontrunner. The tools and services are great for businesses who want to make sales, which is every single business on the planet. Salesforce not only makes it easy with the vast offerings that it has, it also allows companies to make their own applications that interact with Salesforce using their APIs and Salesforce's own programming languages. So yes, as a tech guy, Salesforce has, well, my seal of approval. Not that that really means much, but from the point of view of an investor, I think Salesforce is quite a good option as well. For one, it's profitable, and two, its revenue has seen some quite steady increases. Its value has been steadily increasing over the past 20 years, even through a global recession. And although it did have a bit of a dip earlier this year, it seems to be bouncing back. Now, please bear in mind that none of this is investing advice. Do not base any buying or selling decisions on the content of this video. Please do extensive research before you buy any stock or any share in a company. Now, before you go, if you do have any companies that you would like me to look at, then please comment them down below, either on this video or check this channel and see if I've already made a video about that company. If you have also enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you hit that like button. That brings us to the end. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thank you.